Welcome to the Cash Car Convert Podcast, episode number 35. 35 already? Really?
You're listening to the Cash Car Convert Podcast with James Kinson.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cash Car Convert Podcast. My name is James Kinson and I am the Cash Car Convert. And you're listening to the podcast where cash cars are cool and auto debt is dangerous to your financial future. Now, as I'm recording this, it's the day before the 4th of July, so I'm going to be releasing it on the 4th of July. And I know some of you will be listening to it during the 4th of July holiday, and some of you much later than that. But for my friends here in the U.S. who are listening, happy 4th of July to you. This 4th of July, I just want to take a moment and say, I think we live in a really great country where somebody like me can, come from really humble beginnings, make a pretty good life for himself, and, spend a few bucks on a mic and a mixer and a few other things and start broadcasting my thoughts out to the world. So quite a place. And obviously, that technology exists other places as well. But, from the humble beginnings that I had, I think I could have only probably changed things the way I have here in the States. So I'm really appreciative of that. Now, today's show is going to be a solo show. I'm not going to be doing any interviews this week. I think I've had some really great interviews on the last few weeks. I've been really happy with my guests, happy with the content, and I've had some really good feedback. So I really appreciate all you listeners out there giving me such great feedback and helping the show's audience grow. So thank you very much for that. It's very much appreciated by me. Now, on today's show, I'm going to talk about several different things. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is I had somebody leave me a rating and review. And I don't know if it's a man or a woman. And in terms of the content, it doesn't really matter. But M. Bundy 82 left me a 5-star rating and review. And besides within the rating and review, he or she asked me a question about their driving situation. And it was pretty unusual. And I really had to think about it a while. I spoke to a few people about it, and I wanted to try and answer it here on the air. I don't know that it's going to be something that impacts a lot of people directly, but I'm hoping by answering the question, I didn't have a lot of facts in the question, so I'm going to be answering it very generically, and I hope, therefore, it can help other people by the sort of the generic nature of the answer for anybody who drives a lot. I think most people will be hard-pressed to drive more than this person, though, that's for sure. So M. Bundy states that they wish they had found the information that I'm presenting about 16 years earlier. They go on to say they struggle because they drive 60 to 70,000 miles a year. I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute. 60 or 70,000 miles a year. This person says that they can't really drive a beater, but at the same time, they're in a situation where, they just destroy the value of a car with the number of miles that they put on it in a year. And I don't know if this person's buying new cars or if they're buying slightly used cars or how they're buying. But I got the sense that since they indicate that they're not paying cash, that they're at least buying, fairly new cars, if not new cars. So I'm going to kind of reference this from the perspective of the average new car. And again, M. Bundy 82, I stipulate that certainly may not be your situation. But for conversation's sake, that's the way I want to do this, given that the numbers are, they're out there available in the public. Anybody can look them up and validate what I'm saying is true. So the first thing is the average new car sells for about $32,000. In year one, with just average driving, it's going to lose about $7,800. At the same time, people are paying about $474 a month and are financing out for 66 months. And a few of those things are fairly well records in the new car business. So obviously, M. Bundy 82, if you're driving a vehicle that's new and you're putting 60 or 70,000 miles on it that first year, you're blowing through much more depreciation than that. And even if you're buying a car that's a couple of years old, with maybe low mileage on it, and you put that much on it, you're still quite right. You're really having a huge negative impact on the value of that vehicle. So like I said, I talked to a number of people about this and kind of noodled on it and brainstormed, because the thing I'm really about, I mean, I do want people to drive cash cars, but if they're not in that situation right now, I at least want them to minimize the cost of driving. And so I think while you may not be able to get to a cash car immediately, I think I may have a way for you to eventually get there. I'm hoping that with as much driving as you do, that you make a really good living, because that is a lot of driving, my friend. So let me jump into what I think is a reasonable alternative to what you're doing today. That is, I recommend that you buy a car that has about 100,000 miles on it when you buy it. And by doing that, what you're going to do is you're going to be far enough down that depreciation curve that putting the 60 or 70,000 miles on it is certainly going to have a negative impact, but not nearly like it would in a newer vehicle. I believe, and my experience with the vehicles that I have says that you can get a car with 100,000 miles on it that will be able to take you 60 or 70,000 miles a year reliably. Now, obviously, there's some things you have to look at, so you would want to make sure that the timing chain or belt had been changed on any vehicle that you bought, or that's an expense you would have to plan on for yourself, because that's one of the biggest things you have to worry about when you get a car that's over 100,000 miles. But otherwise, you can get a lot more mileage out of a vehicle than that. And if you don't believe me, just go onto Craigslist and start searching for vehicles in the $3,000 to $6,000 range, and look at the number of Toyotas, Hondas, Lexus, Infinitis, and really, those for sure, but a lot of other Fords and so forth. I mean, you're going to find a lot of vehicles going 200,000 miles plus. So when I tell people that cars are engineered to go over 200,000 miles, it's not a stretch. I mean, there are a lot of cars out there that you will see, and a lot of them look like they were really well maintained, but they have 200,000 miles on them. So if you can find a car that's got 100,000 miles on it, and something that's comfortable to drive, because being 60 to 70,000 miles a year as a driver, that is a lot of driving. And so I would think comfort is going to be pretty key in that as well. But assuming you can get something in that range, then I think what you can do at the very least is minimize your upfront cost, minimize the depreciation that you're taking a hit on. And so if you are having to buy this next vehicle with credit, it will put you in a position where you can take the delta between what you're paying now and what you're paying on this next vehicle, and maybe start to put that away to start to save for something that you could buy for cash. And maybe when you get ready to buy the next time, maybe you'll have enough money saved to buy with cash, or maybe you can put some additional money with it. Now, the trick to what I'm saying is that you're basically going to be buying a new car every 2 years. Now, it's true that a lot of cars get over 200,000 miles these days, and if you maintain them, there's not a problem with them. But for somebody who drives as much as you, I would err on the side of less risk, and so I would plan to drive that vehicle, from 100 or 110,000 to 160 to 170,000, and then plan on selling it and starting the process all over again. And I think that's going to be the most inexpensive way for you to drive a vehicle. I talked to a number of people about it, and I'm sure the listeners out there, if some other folks have some ideas, they'll let me know. But right now, that's kind of the best information I have. And I know this is just anecdotal information, but my wife and I, both of us bought cars that had over 100,000 miles on them when we bought them. My truck, I've now had it 4 years. And I've driven it from Dallas-Fort Worth to Florida. I've driven it from Dallas-Fort Worth to Atlanta on several different occasions. And those are drives of roughly 800 miles each way. So, a 1,600-mile trip. And I have no worries about doing that. My truck now has over 150,000 miles on it, and it wouldn't faze me one bit to drive that car cross country. I would certainly get the oil changed, make sure, everything was in good working order, but I wouldn't think twice about driving that car cross country, or my wife's vehicle for that matter, which now I think has about 140,000 miles on it. So I'm not just telling you something that I'm not willing to do myself. This is something that I have done. And the other interesting point there, I haven't really kept up as much with what my wife's vehicle would be worth. But my vehicle, I'm pretty sure I could sell it for within a couple of $1,000s of what I bought it for. Now, to be fair, I got it at a good price. So there's a little bit of extra margin there for me. But, $2,000 depreciation over 4 years, that's not bad. And I think, even if that's what you see in 1 year based on your driving patterns, it sure beats, 10 or 12,000 with a more expensive vehicle. So I would encourage you to take a look at that, see what you can find out there that might be attractive to you in that way, and see if that can't help you get into a cash car, if not today, over time. The next thing I want to talk about today is Craigslist. Now, those of you who've read my blog and been around for a while, I did an article on Craigslist last year. And one of the things I did is I complained about the lack of searchable features. And just yesterday I noticed, so I'm not sure exactly when they did this, but I noticed it yesterday, that Craigslist has now added some additional features that for me make it a much better place to buy cars and gives you much more search capability. So one of them is you can choose the paint color. So if you select the paint color, it's got black, blue, green, gray, orange, purple, red, silver, white, yellow, custom, and brown. You can choose the size of the vehicle: compact, full size, mid-size, subcompact. You can choose the type, anything from a bus, convertible, coupe, hatchback, minivan, off-road, pickup, sedan, truck, SUV, wagon, van, and other. You can pick the type of drive that it has, whether it's four-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, or rear-wheel drive. Easy for me to say. You can choose the type of fuel: gas, diesel, hybrid, electric, or other. And you can choose the transmission: manual, automatic, or semi-automatic. And this is one I really like. You can choose the title status. And this is something I really appreciate because I'm not really too keen on pulling up cars that have salvage or rebuilt titles. If people have the expertise and they want to, look at those types of vehicles, then that's fine. But I'm really interested in looking at something that has a clean title. So your options in the title status are clean, salvage, rebuilt, and parts only. So with these additional search capabilities, it really gives you the ability to search for what you want, to eliminate some of the things that you don't want, and to make Craigslist a much more user-friendly experience. And just to give you a hint of some of the other things that I do when I go to search there, first of all, if I'm looking for cars under $5,000 or under $6,000, I'm going to select private owner sale. Now, you're still going to find a number of dealers who are going to come out there and try to sell you a car in that space. Maybe people who are trying to flip cars. If you can sometimes find that out by using CARFAX, but there are other ways as well. One of the things I'll do is I'll take the phone number of the person who's selling the vehicle and I'll place it in the search field in Craigslist, and then I'll search for it. And that's, again, with no other options picked. So I'm searching their entire car database for that phone number. And it's a pretty good way to find out because then if that phone number shows up with multiple cars, you know that somebody is selling cars on the side or is a dealer or something like that. So that's one little trick I like to do to make sure that I'm buying from an individual. The other thing I'll do, and this isn't foolproof, some of these other search term things aren't foolproof, but I'll put the word "my" in the search field. So if I was looking to buy, let's say, a 4Runner, I would put the word "my" and 4Runner in there in the search terms because I'm looking in the search description field for somebody to be saying they're selling my car. I'm selling my 4Runner, my car, my truck. And again, that's not foolproof, but it's one way to kind of limit it. A few other search terms I like to try and use since we're talking about Craigslist anyway, and you can use these on other search engines as well for cars. I like to search on one owner. I like to search for low miles. I like to search for records. And those are all description type searches. So, I'll put them all in and sometimes and then I'll just see is there one car out there that's a one owner car with low miles that has records? And sometimes you find a hit on that. Sometimes you don't. You have to mix and match those and determine what's more important to you. Are you looking for a one owner car more than you want low miles, or is it more important to have records? So those are some trade-offs that you can make. The other thing is I'm always going to check on Craigslist the picture. I don't want to pull up a vehicle and be interested in it and not be able to see a photo of it. If somebody's going to put something on Craigslist, in my book, they need to put a photo out there if they're serious about selling it. So those are a few of the things that I do on Craigslist to try to help me narrow things down. And again, I'll use those things in combination. I'll limit the search criteria by price. Most of the time I don't do it by year because the price is kind of self-limiting in that way. But if you had some hard rule that you didn't want to go any older than a 1995 or a 2000 model, then you could do that. But when you're looking in that low price range, you can find some really good older cars. Maybe they've been owned by older people, well-maintained, and the people just can't drive anymore. They're probably not going to be the sexiest vehicles or have all the gadgets, but in terms of basic transportation, point A to point B, you're going to find some out there that, again, might be older. So it might be worth expanding your search there a little bit, letting your price be the limiting factor, not the year model. So I hope those tips help a little bit with Craigslist. And again, I'm really appreciative of them making it more user-friendly for those of us who are looking to buy a good used car. And we can eliminate very easily the salvage and rebuilt titles, assuming you're not interested in those things. I'm not that good a mechanic, and I don't want to take that kind of a risk. I want to try to stack the odds in my favor as much as I can. There's one other thing I'm going to throw out here. I was looking at vehicles the other day, and I went out to CARFAX, and I spent $54 and change. It might be $54.99 to buy a CARFAX report that would allow you to do, I believe, 5 VIN number searches. And that's interesting, but that's not really the cool part. The cool part is you can do an unlimited number of license plate number searches. So if you're looking on Craigslist or Auto Trader or anywhere else, and the license plate number is shown for the vehicle that you're looking at, then if you've bought this package, you get unlimited license plate number searches. So you can go out there and do that. And I will just tell you that a couple of the vehicles I've been looking at recently, I noticed that doing that really helped me. It allowed me to know that one of the cars that was listed as a one-owner vehicle had just been bought at an auction. So it was a one-owner vehicle, but now it was owned by a dealer or somebody flipping a car. Again, I got nothing against those people, but that's just not where I prefer to buy my vehicles, and I prefer that you don't as well. Again, I want you to be able to get the records, look the owner in the eye as much as possible, and do those kinds of things to, again, tilt the odds in your favor. But I think that's a neat little thing that's out there with CARFAX. If you guys are seriously looking at a vehicle, or looking for a vehicle, then you can use the license plate number to do searches. And the other thing is, I think some people will take the license plate number off because they want to protect their identity and so forth, and I understand that. But also, a lot of dealers will do that because they don't want to show you that they've got a dealer tag or something like that. So just something else to be aware of and be thinking about as you're looking at these vehicles. But yeah, I've had a couple of CARFAX reports come back based on those searches that just out of hand eliminated a vehicle, even though it sounded good in the ad itself. All right, so that takes me through that. So there's some tips for Craigslist and for CARFAX. I hope you guys enjoyed those. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is that I'm going to be speaking at Podcast Movement. That's a conference here in Dallas that's specific to podcasters. It's the only nationwide podcasters-only conference. It's headed up by some friends of mine, and so I'm going to be there, and I'm lucky enough to be on one of the speaking panels, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be August 16th and 17th in Dallas, Texas, and if you're in the area or if you are interested in getting into podcasting, I would really encourage you to go out to podcastmovement.com and check out their website and see about signing up. The other place I'm going to be speaking, and that's in September. It's going to be September 18th through the 20th. And again, I'm going to be on a panel, so I'm not speaking solo. But, I'm going to be at FinCon Expo 14, and that's a financial bloggers conference. And I'm going to be speaking about podcasting, which is near and dear to my heart. And one of the beautiful things about this is that at this specific conference, 80% of the people that are going to be in attendance don't do podcasts and are bloggers. So it's going to be a target-rich environment for those of us who do podcasting to kind of get out there and spread the word about the value and the beauty of podcasting. So that's going to be in New Orleans. So that's a really great place, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to come in and spend some time in New Orleans. So if you're going to be in that area, or if you're interested in financial matters, the financial conference, FinCon Expo 14, would be a really great place to have you come. I'd love to meet up with anybody that comes out there that has an interest in podcasting or in this show. So please come by and tell me hello. The next thing I wanted to share with you guys is I've been sort of in the background working on a book, and it's been kind of hit or miss. I've worked on it some, and then I've gone long stretches where I haven't worked on it. Well, I've decided to get serious about it and wrap it up this month. So I plan to release at the end of July a book. The book is going to be called The Cash Car Solution: How to Escape Debt, Drive for Less, and Invest in Yourself. And the book's going to be about really exactly that. It's going to talk about why you should think about driving a cash car, the benefits of driving a cash car, and then it's also going to have some detail about how to find good quality, inexpensive cash cars. My belief is that most of us can either sell or scrape together cash in a pinch of $3,000 to $5,000 to get us out from underneath car payments. And then if we can start using those car payments to invest in ourselves, you can upgrade that car. Just, when you buy that $3,000 to $5,000 car, you don't have to stay in it forever. You can drive that car while you save those, and again, I'm going to use average numbers here, $474 a month of new car payment. Once you sell that new car, then you can take those dollars, pay them to yourself. And once you start paying them to yourself, then you can start to build up a fund to not only repair the car you have if there is a hiccup with it, but also start to save to upgrade that car. So maybe you buy a car for, $4,000, you save another $4,000, and you go out and you buy an $8,000 car and you sell the $4,000 car. And then you do the same thing and you just keep upgrading. And, I'm going to tell you, once you get to $10,000 to $15,000, that you can buy a really nice car for $10,000 to $15,000. It's not going to be new, and yeah, it's going to have a few miles on it. But man, oh man, you sure save yourself a lot on depreciation when you go that route. And that's the spot in which my wife and I both bought the vehicles that we're driving right now. And again, I've had mine for 4 years. She's had hers, I think, for now about 3. So we've had a pretty good run with these vehicles, and we're quite pleased with them. The last thing I want to talk to you about today is out on my blog for the first time, my blog, my website, where my show notes are, cashcarconvert.com. For the first time, I now have something for you. If you give me your email address and allow me to provide updates to you about my website and what's going on there, you're going to get a little PDF, and it's called 6 Must-Have Tips Before Inspecting Your Next Used Car. And it's exactly what it says it is. It's just a little short few pages of information about how to go about inspecting a car before you take it to your mechanic for an inspection. I'm really pleased to have that out there. I would encourage you to go out and check it out. And if you haven't given me your email address and subscribed to my updates prior, I would encourage you to do that. I haven't historically done a lot of email updates, but that's something I look forward to doing going forward. So I would encourage you to go ahead and go out there, get signed up, get the PDF, take a look at it. I'd love some feedback on it. The thing is, it's not in stone. I can make modifications to that if some people have some input to it. The one thing about what I'm doing here at the Cash Car Convert is I'm drawing on my own experience. If you're a seasoned mechanic, then what I'm telling you hopefully will resonate with you, but it's not going to be new information to you. I'm really trying to reach out to those people and help them who have bought new cars, have never really done their own investigative work about how to find a good used car, and don't really know how to inspect a car. So, there's not anything in there that's rocket science. It's all pretty basic stuff. But I think if you do these things and then it passes your inspection, then you can take the car to a mechanic and have them inspect it, and you can go with a high degree of confidence when you buy that car and know that you're probably buying a pretty good vehicle. So that's there. So that's now on my website if you sign up, and I'd encourage you to go out to cashcarconvert.com and take a look at that. All right, so the show notes for this episode are going to be out at cashcarconvert.com/035. Again, that's cashcarconvert.com/035. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can send me an email at james@cashcarconvert.com, or you can reach out to me on Twitter @cashcarconvert. And I also have a Facebook page, and that's facebook.com/cashcarconvert. And I could certainly use some more likes out there as well. I'm approaching 100, and when I get to 100, then I'll be able to get some additional metrics available to me on the site. So I'm anxiously looking forward to that. And again, I'm getting fairly close. So I'm pretty pleased about that. Also, with the ratings and reviews, I'm up to 39 now. So I'm 11 away from 50. And when I get to 50, I'm going to give away the autographed book. And this is signed by Dave Ramsey and Rachel Cruz. And that is Smart Money, Smart Kids. This is a book that I've read. I interviewed Rachel Cruz on my show. I have the utmost respect for Dave Ramsey and Rachel Cruz and what they're doing. I think they've had such a positive impact on the world. And as I told Rachel, this show wouldn't exist without the Total Money Makeover and what Dave Ramsey was doing. And I've already been able to help some people even with this small show. So I'm looking forward to helping more people as I grow the audience. And one of the ways I can do that is with ratings and reviews. So it would be a great help to me. And if you believe in the show, a great help to other people if you could go out and leave a rating and review. And I'll be giving away that book once we get to 50 ratings and reviews. So we're not that far away. Hopefully it won't take that much longer. But I'm really looking forward to that. And I know whoever gets that book will really enjoy it as much as I did. It was great information. All right, with that, I'm going to sign off for this week. Everybody who's listening to this on the 4th of July, be safe. And if you're listening to it afterwards, I hope you're having a great time. I'll come back and speak to you guys next week. And in the meantime, God bless and take care.
My daddy was the cash call comment.